It's been 2 months since I set up the 75-gallon Nano Fish Paradise, and I expected to do an update way sooner than this, but quite frankly, the aquarium didn't need anything, and I really had nothing to film for you. But that all changes today because I finally need to do some moss trimming and plant replanting and things like that, so to show you the aquarium and get a little update going. Now, one of the first things that we're going to notice here as we pan around the aquarium is the overabundance of little tiny cleaners, which is part of the reason the aquarium looks so good, but also part of the reason it looks so bad. And that is all of these little ram's horn snails. They are literally everywhere, and I can't look at any inch of the aquarium without having, 10 or 15 in my line of sight. Now, they do a really good job at cleaning things up and keeping the aquarium looking algae-free, but it's just too much for me and they got to go. So the first step we're going to do in our maintenance is over here in the corner, where we're going to drop in 3 algae wafers and get these little snails all collected up in one corner of the aquarium. Once they get collected up over there, we're going to use the siphon hose and evict them from this ecosystem. Now they're going to have to fight the cute little Corydoras to get to that food, but I have no doubt that the snails will eventually take over. Let's give them about an hour. Now, while we wait for our snail collection process to finish, which seems to be hampered slightly by the hungriness of fish, let's take a look around the aquarium and see where we're at. One of my favorite things that is occurring is the roots growing down from the Anubias. You can see here how we've got just this fantastic root structure coming down from that Anubias there. Looks really, really cool. Bucephalandra has kind of reached out from around that piece of wood and is growing towards the light. Looks really nice. Our carpet is filling in nicely here, Halanthium tenellum green, and the little patches of S. repens right there in the middle, also looking fantastic throughout the aquarium. You can see the S. repens down here on the bottom, just dotted around all of the rocks, and I'm really happy that the Halanthium tenellum green, while it's spreading, it hasn't taken over in the short 2-month period that this tank has been up and running. The Amano shrimp have been hard at work, always scrounging around for little bits of food, and it's just a joy to watch the aquarium. Lots of life and activity going on in there. All the Anubias, as you see, growing in fantastic and stood all the leaves up there. We've got the mystery snails there. They're out and about a lot more. They don't bury themselves as much as they used to, and they're around cleaning things up. And overall, you can just kind of take a look and see that everything's growing, and we've even managed to save our Walichi here. This little Walichi plant was not looking so good when we put it in here, but apparently it loves the land and aqua soil and has been growing like crazy. So we're going to trim those little tops off and replant them right back down in this little pocket where all of the other Walichi is. Our Cryptocoryne nuri is doing exactly what I wanted it to, and that's just peeking out from behind the rocks, but not getting too crazy with the growth. And the Physidens moss that is accented in front of it looks really, really good. Just filling in that void and really looking natural, though, I guess plant growth is natural. Our other chunk of Physidens up here also doing good, though it looks like it has a little bit of algae on there. Let me see if I can get a closer picture. You can see here how the tops look just a little more muted or fuzzy than, say, the growth down there at the bottom. And I think that is because there's a little bit of algae embedded in there. Not a big deal. It's going to be part of the trimming that we do today. It appears we're going to be fighting an endless battle between snail and fish. So let's drop a couple more algae wafers in there, so that we have the snails, give the snails a chance to come over. While we're waiting for our snail collection, let's go ahead and trim some Walichi. And we're just going to replant it right back down here in this little pocket. And from the front view here, you can see that it looks much better. Just kind of a little pink poking up in between the wood. Negative space is key in this setup here, and that's why it looks so good. So we want to make sure that all of the plants stay below the horizon line, if you will, which is about mid of the tank. Next up is going to be some moss removal, in which I'm starting here with the Physidens just to give it a trim, maybe get that little bit of algae off of the top there, and just promote a healthy growth. To do that, I'm going to be using a siphon hose. While I trim this moss, I'll be able to siphon out all the little pieces so that it doesn't float around and just take up residence elsewhere in the aquarium. While I really don't need to do a water change, as you can see here by the ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate levels, I am just going to siphon this into a bucket that I have down here on the floor. There, that looks a lot better and should help promote a little bit healthier moss growth there. Now, some other moss we have to attend to is all of this weeping moss, like this giant clump over here, this giant clump right here, and of course all of these over here. And while some may say that it looks fantastic, they just look like big poof balls on a stick to me. So what I'm going to do is a little bit harsh for some, but I'm actually just going to go in here and I'm going to pull the entire chunk off. But don't worry, I will sell it or give it to my local fish store. Now, the reason I'm just going to remove this entire clump is because this is a low maintenance aquascape, and so I don't want to be doing a ton of maintenance all the time. And trimming moss is a tedious task which nobody really likes to do. Now, by pulling this completely off, you may be able to see that there are little pieces of moss still on the wood. Those little pieces will spread out in just a few weeks' time and turn back into something along the lines of this. So I am not worried about taking these giant clumps of moss off. It does make the aquascape look a little weird, but you see how they want to float off anyway? They're very loose and they collect a lot of debris, and that leads to bad water quality and more maintenance. So what we do is we just leave a couple of little leaves, I guess you would call it, of moss, little pieces of moss on there. And those little pieces will regenerate. And literally that's all you got to do when you're trimming weeping moss or even Java moss. Same thing. I do the same thing. I just let it grow into a big clump like this. And then I just go in here and just pull the entire clump off. Now this one's got a bunch of snails on it. We want to get them off because we don't want to transfer those to the local fish store. But look, you see how loose that is? This is exactly why you should just pull the thing off of there. Hopefully not getting any leaves floating around the aquarium. I guess you call them leaves of moss. But just leave a little bit on there and you'll see in the next update how well that works. Alright, all of the moss has been removed and it looks a lot cleaner on the wood portion of this aquascape. We've got pretty much a good collection of snails down on the right side of the aquarium. If we pan around over here to the left, you can see there's some good little groups of snails there that are easy for siphoning out. So I'm going to grab the old siphon hose here, just kind of go around the substrate, remove as many of these ram's horns as I can. Alright guys, and that's gonna wrap it up for the maintenance here. We've got most of the snails vacuumed out, not all of them, but you know, we'll slowly keep working on it and eventually get it down to a manageable number, like 3. I've also cleaned the glass, which didn't really need to be done, but just a wipe down, clean the filter, and then refilled the aquarium, so we are good to go. I appreciate you guys tuning into the update video. Sorry it took so long to get it out, but I just really had nothing interesting to show you until now. I'm going to leave you with some cinematics, and I hope you enjoy the video. And the next update, we'll see you around the channel. Don't forget to hit all those buttons. See ya!